Okay, this is going to be a quick solve of today's case, which was battle number 10, the final battle of this Excel esports season. So this is the World Championship case, final one, which was a cool case. It's kind of tricky. I thought I'd actually smashed it. I added up that I got like 950 points, which would have placed me third or something like that. But then I somehow got 750, so I obviously made a formula error on one of the questions. So the premise of the case is that we have all of the esports results. This is the top 30 people from each battle, their points and how long it took them. I actually know most of these scores off by heart because I'm sad, so I could kind of check my answers. I knew what the answer should be in my head. And then we have a map which comes into the case a bit later on. So let's hide my lambda set and the answers. Whoops. And let's get to it. So which countries represented most across the data set? So I have a most of lambda, which most people have, if you watch my other videos, you'll see any time I introduce a lambda, I'll show you how it works. So that's United States of America. How many cacti and rattlesnakes can be found in the map? So this is just a count if this map, and we'll lock that, is this thing. And if we add those up, we have 26. What is the maximum number of days you've had to wait for an RTLV battle? I will do this one now, even though the map comes in later. So basically, for this question, you can only stay on this blue path, and every cell is a day, and then the green is a Road to Las Vegas case. So I'm just going to delete out all these things from the map because I don't need those, and I don't want any of my formulas picking up those numbers or letters. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to replace all of the greens with 0. It's already set up from my practice earlier, so that's done. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say equals minimum of the 4 things around it, because when you're on this path you can only go up, down, left or right, you can't cut diagonals. And I'm going to say plus 1. I'm going to turn on my circular references, they're already on, and then I'm just going to painfully copy this out up to everything except the first cell here, because I don't want the formula, the circular reference, to capture the 0 from the last case. Otherwise it will screw things up. So you can painfully watch me do this. And this is what I did in the real thing as well. Let's unclick that one. There's a few things I did quite manually in this case. There's probably quicker ways that Dim will show in his videos, but I am not complex enough to do them. But this will set us up for one of the later questions as well, so it's worth doing. So let's copy the formulas in. And now I have the distance from pretty much any cell, so I know I just need to manually add one on. So I can see the biggest number here is 33. So if I say equals maximum of this, I get 33. Now, I would say that if you are, the green case is a day, you're 1 day away, so I'm 1 day away, now I'm 0 days away. So for me the max should be 34, but the case is actually wants 35 as an answer. After the case they did say that they accepted 34 or 35, so I assume that they're counting this day extra. I guess they're counting as the longest time you would be away from a case is like immediately completing one, but 34 was accepted. We'll put in 35 just to acknowledge that we actually got the points there on the day. And then let's actually get into the case. So this is just asking what the highest score was for each of the battles. So I can just filter our results table, filter the points for where the battle equals this. And then I am going to want the max of those, so max, and there's our answer. Next we want to find out points per minute, so we're first going to have to calculate that. So I want to get this time into minutes only, so for that I just did text before the M, and I'm going to times it by 1 to keep it as a number, so there's my minutes. Now I want to get my seconds out as a proportion of a minute, so I'm going to say text after the colon, and I want to substitute that S out for nothing. So substitute S for nothing, and then I want to divide that by 60, so that's my proportion of a minute. And then if I add those two things up, that is how many minutes each person took, and then points per minute, so I can say points per minute equals the points divided by the minutes. So now it's just an XLOOKUP. You can actually XLOOKUP on two criteria. So you just say XLOOKUP, I want to XLOOKUP the person, ampersand the battle in, and then the column's going to be the person, ampersand the battle. And then I want to return the points per minute. So there's a little XLOOKUP trick for you. The reason it's wrong is because it needs rounding, so we'll just say round, and that's that one done. Okay. Next up, we want to know for each battle who was placed directly below the given name. So this one I did in a data table. For example 3, XLOOKUP this in here, B, and we'll go G to H. Whoops. G to H. So what we want to do is we want to filter our results table that we have just made here by where the battle equals the given battle here. So now we have a full results table. Then we want to sort that into the order that people placed. So let's do sort by. This is our array, and we want to sort by the points first of all, descending. Then we want to sort by the time, which is here, and that's going to be ascending, I think. And then we want to sort by the name, which is alphabetical. So that should now give us points and then time. So you'll see where there's a draw here. It's done on time, who finished first. And then if there's another draw on time, so these two 30 minutes, then we go in alphabetical order. So let's just reduce the size of these. The next thing we want to do is find the position of our given person. So that's an index. If you want to pull something out, it's always like an index to pull things on position. So I want to index this by xmatch this in that list. And I want a +1, so we're going one row down, and that is going to give us our answer. Let's put our question numbers in and data table it, and we should be good to go. Next up, there's probably an easier way to do this, but I just continued on from here. Let's move this back to our battle 7. I then gave them a ranking, so I just said equals sequence of 30. I was a bit worried in the real thing that the number of people listed per battle would change from 30, but I did a couple of checks and it's always 30, so I didn't have to amend any formulas. And then I want to say odd, even, so that's the results. And then the question wants the average time of all the odd or even participants. So what we can do is average ifs, and we want the average time, which is this, and if this is this. So that gives us our average there. The only difficult thing is we now need to split it back out into the original time format. I don't know if there's a better way to work with those, but whatever. So I did integer of this number, that gives us our 28. Then I did the total number minus our minutes. That gives me the remainder, which is the seconds. And then I want to convert that to seconds. So I need to times it by 60. And then finally, I want to round that number. So we have our seconds. The only problem is, if it's like a 5, we need to put a 0 in it. So what I actually did is I then said let A be that, and I said if length of A equals 1, do 0 and A, otherwise do A. And that, whoops, I put a bracket instead of 0. Now we have our seconds, so finally we can join everything up in the format we want it. So it's going to be this and M colon and this and S. And then we should be able to get all of our answers. Fine, and now for this one we want to know on the map how long it takes us to get to the next case. So I already have this set up, so all I want to do is like indirect on this map. So I'm going to call this M, and then I'm going to say equals indirect of M and our number. And if any don't pick up a number, I'm just going to check them. So I see this one is 0 in W34, but everything else looks correct. So W34 is here. It's this one, so it's 20 away. So I know that one is 20, so I'll manually type that in. And then we have all of our answers. Okay, question 6. Now, this one, I'm going to just set up as a data table here, because this one was pretty easy for me. I'm going to say XLOOKUP this in here, return here. And what this question is asking is to pick a location, and then you want to find how many of these items are within a 10-day walk, so within 10 cells. If you watched my Battle 2 case, or is it Battle 3? If you watched my Battle 3 case, which was the nightmare spreadsheet, I explain a lambda where I can input a map and a number, and it will give me everything within that many cells. So that's called closest on map. So I can say my cell is this, my map is just this, and my extension is going to be 10, which is what the question asked for. And what this lambda does is it gives me everything on a map, the cell it's in, the rows, the columns, and the total distance. I've kept the rows and columns in there in case there's anything weird, like every row you move up is 3 meters or something like that, so I have to multiply it up, which I can do from here. So all I want to do is say let A be that, and then I want to filter A, where choose calls A1, so I'm just picking the first column here, equals, so I need to put my calls in there, equals this. And then that's just going to filter my closest on map to the 3 palm trees. So finally I can just say rows of that. So let's put that formula in to here. I will need to move these to actually be the question. I also want to lock the cells on my map because I haven't done that yet. So there we go, that is the answer to that one. I'm just going to copy those as values so that it doesn't mess up later when I play with the map. Question 7 is basically asking us a start location and end location, and then how far are we away from the end location while avoiding some obstacles. So whenever you have something like this, it's always best to do like a circular reference thing. So I am just going to copy this map. Let's call it C for copy. And then I'm going to build this up. So this might look a bit dangerous, but let's delete all of that out so we just have this. And then what I want to do is I want to mark out where only the relevant things are that matter. So it's the snakes and the brick wall. So the question says that you can't go within 2 cells of a snake. So the snakes basically take up this much space. So I'm going to copy that over all my snakes. So again, I just did this manually in the case. I'm sure there's formula ways to do it, but I am too simple for that. I think that's all of them. Now I have a lambda called address of cells. It's quite simple. So if I say address of cells and I copy an array, it's just going to tell me the address of all the cells that I just highlighted. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this out as well. I'm going to set up my data table for the question in here. So example 7, XLOOKUP, example 7 in case B, and give me G to H. There we go. So that's our start, that's our end. And then what I want to say is equals if address of cells and then the cell I'm in equals the start, I'm going to say 0, otherwise 1. So I'll build this up slowly so you can see. So I'll build this up slowly so you can see how it works. So let's copy that whole formula over here. And you will see that our start location is here, 0, because it's matching the start location. What I then want to do is mark out any snakes or brick walls. So I will have another if. So otherwise if, and I'm going to come to this map, if this cell equals, I actually want an or, so if, let's say or, this cell equals a snake, and I'll lock that cell, or this cell equals a brick wall, then give me a blank, otherwise give me a 1. Then let's copy the formula into all of the cells, and what you will see is I get blanks wherever there's a snake or a brick wall. And the final thing I need to do is amend this 1 to say minimum of everything around the cell, because we can move diagonally now, plus 1. And finally, we copy that in, and we're all set up, ready to go with how far everything is. Then it's literally just a case of saying indirect of this. That's going to give me how far it is away from the starting location, and I can enter in my locations, and we are hopefully done. This will take a little while, so give that a second to work around. And that's done. Let's copy those in, and those are all right. So that's all the main questions of the case. So now it's just some bonus. So which player has the 7th highest overall points in the season? I'm just going to actually copy these as values, because otherwise it's going to slow everything down. So in our results, I'm going to say equals unique. Flipping between the map now feels a bit strange, so let's get the players, let's get their points, equals sum ifs the points if the player is this, and then equals sum ifs the time where the player is this. And then we can do the points over the time. And then we want to do another sort by these names by points in descending order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's bow. So there's the answer. Now this final one is actually really difficult, and I don't really know a formula way to do it, but I can do it fairly quickly manually. It's saying that in each case spot you have left your luggage, and you are starting in this cell, AO41, and you need to pick it up. So the way I'm going to do this is exactly like example 7, but I'm going to manually kind of look at the best route. So for me, the best route would be literally just going in order that the path goes in. This corner one you're always going to have to get at some point, so it doesn't matter if you go straight to it, you're still going to have to then go all the way up to this one that says 17 on it. So you might as well go to these on the way, get that, and then you're going to do that distance anyway. Then it looks like the quickest way is just going to be up and to the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a new start and end location of the route that I think is fastest. So I'm going to say unique of this. So that's all my locations. Let's just copy those as values. And I'm going to manually put these in. So I know I'm going to start at AO41. And then I'm going to go to AE V. So let's grab those. AE V. Then we have the E. Then we're going to have AC. Then we're going to have Q. This is, I know this is probably painful to watch, but it works. And then we have S. Then we have AD. Then we have Z. And finally we have G4. So this is our order that we're going to go in. So we're going to have our start here, if you like. Start here, end here. Let's say equals this. And then I'm going to call these 1, 2. I'm going to give those a number. And what I want to do is I want to make our start and end like this, so that changes the map. I'm going to say 1, and then I'm going to say xlookup 1 in here, return here. This sometimes messes up the circular references, which is why I'm being careful with it. Yeah, it does, which is annoying. So there's an easy fix for that. I'm just going to copy my formula out somewhere without the equals sign, delete everything off my map, which is annoying, and I'm going to put it back in. And we're back. Now again, all I want to do is equals indirect of my end location, and put in all my things for the data table here, and then we should be done. if I got the order right. So again, it takes a little while. So the answer should be 115. So it should be 115. However, the answer, if I show you the answers, is actually 116. So I don't know if there's a mistake in the case where they're adding one on. It's the same thing as the maximum number of days you had to wait for the Road to Las Vegas battle. So unless I'm thinking about things wrong, it doesn't make sense to me that it'd be 116 instead of 115. Maybe I'm just being stupid and I need to add a 1 to any of these distances I calculate right at the end. I don't know, but I think it's 115. But let's put 116 anyway. And that is my solve. So I wanted to get this out early because I was eager to be the first on here with a solve. So it might not be perfect, but it works. Like I said, don't know why I didn't end at like 900 on the day. I obviously messed something up in one of the earlier levels and just missed a load of points randomly. If you want to see how that closest on map lambda works, go watch the Nightmare video I did. And that is it. Hope you enjoyed. Good luck if you're competing in the main World Championship that starts this weekend.